here. We're going to start this meeting. Again, I want to thank the staff for getting us prepared and ready for this. And so this is the Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, June 13th, 2022. I will ask Mac if he'll give the invocation. If y'all please stand.
Let's pray. Father, again, we give thanks for the many blessings that you bestow on us. We thank you for this time that we have to come together and to study the plans for the city of East Ridge. We ask you to bless our efforts tonight. May whatever we do will be pleasing to you. Forgive us of our sins and our shortcomings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay. Thanks, Mac. Staff will do the roll call, please.
Chairperson Leach,
Here.
Board Member Pendley. Bowles.
Here.
Board Member Sharp,
Here.
Board Member Zitzel.
Here.
All right, got a full house tonight. That's good. We do have minutes and they've been handed out. This was from the March 14th, 2022 Board of Appeals meeting. If y'all look over them real quickly and if you have any corrections, we can make those corrections or additions. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Could you make a motion to accept them?
You're a fast reader. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Read them before.
Okay. You have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All, any other questions about the minutes? Any other additions, changes? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, good. We do have a couple of cases today. Before we get started, though, I wanted to take a just a second to report the death of a fellow named Bill Jones. Bill Jones served on this board for probably 10 years or 12 years.
When did he die?
He died Thursday, June the 9th. He had ALS. Bill was a banker here in town. He was a great member of this board. He was married 57 years to his wife Glenda, and just a wonderful Christian man, great citizen. I knew him in the Army also, so I kind of knew him from both sides, but and also dealt with him as a banker. But Bill served on this board for many years, and he is sorely missed by his family, and we just want to get that in the record, if you don't mind. And we really are thanking his wife, Glenda, and his family at their loss. He did have ALS, and it was a pretty terrible situation for the family and for Bill to have to deal with that ALS for some period of time. Anyway, so just wanted to get that in the record, and we do appreciate Bill's service to the city of East Ridge, and I'll give that to the secretary. I did attend a funeral, and I signed in as a member of the board and representing the board. So I did sign in for us. Okay. Before we get started, we do like to go over the kind of the makeup and the constitution of this board. We're citizens of the city of East Ridge. We're not members of the staff. We're not paid by the city of East Ridge for our services. We do this as a citizen of East Ridge, where our purpose is to hear and decide zoning issues, variances from the East Ridge zoning ordinance. So we don't have we're quasi judicial, which means we can do investigations, we can ask questions, we can get materials. We don't have any punitive. We can't take anybody to court. We don't have enforcement powers. That's of course through the city of East Ridge, and all our decisions tonight are final and binding. If it's granted or not granted, and the jurisdiction following us is a court of competent jurisdiction for the state. So you don't go to the East Ridge City Council to complain about us because it won't do any good. Our decisions are final and binding, and we are an administrative board, so we can accept evidence and accept statements from the public. The hearing's been properly advertised. So the way we normally handle business at this board is we have a little information, and most of the time I'll just read it. We actually have two cases, but they're identical cases, but we need to handle both cases separate. So let me read the heading off the agenda, and we can go from there. Request from Chris Daniel, doing business as J&A Construction, for a variance from the rear setback requirements in the RZ1 0 lot line residential district, Article 5, Section 403, height and area and building regulations, subsection E. And this is in quotes: there shall be a rear yard setback of not less than 25 feet for property located at 6775 Dharma Loop. And the second case is similar to that, just next door. And I think we should definitely, we can discuss them as the same, but we need to vote on them separately. So I sent out some information to you that this actual Zone 0 lot line residential district, yours truly had the privilege of writing it many years ago. And as far as I know, this is the only one that's ever been, there may be, but this is the only one I ever knew that had gotten actually utilized both in the city of Chattanooga and other communities that adopted that ordinance. It was designed for patio homes, basically. Patio homes are just homes that can be built either on a property line. It's similar to a townhouse zoning, as I mentioned in the document that I sent you. But generally it's set off on one side is a 0, one side is 10, or something similar to that. And I think this ordinance allows, if I'm correct, Mike, it allows for townhouses also in this district.
So the RZ1 strictly just for patio homes, RT1 is for the townhomes,
Right.
if that's, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Anyway, they're similar in nature in that you have very, very small lots. And as I wrote in my document to y'all, the minimum lot size is 2,265 square feet. I think these measure in around 4,190 square feet, if my math is similar, is any good. And the R1 residential district, which is the balance of the city, is 10,000 square feet for a lot. So, it's a direct reduction. And generally, these are not fill-ins. The hope when we wrote the ordinance originally is it would be done as subdivisions, not as individual little parcels scattered around. That could cause a problem. But in this case, it is a recorded subdivision. Is it Hummingbird Village?
That's correct.
Okay, Hummingbird Village subdivision. I hope y'all had a chance to go out there and try to figure out what I was trying to tell you. But there's some
Twice, couldn't find a bigger town.
there's structures already being built similar in nature. I would assume we can hear that from the applicant to what would be built on these lots. They're very small lots, as I said, compared to what we're normally used to. So your setbacks are critical, front, back, sides against public roads and all that are very critical. And the staff has gone and done some measurements for us. I guess you did either out in the field or map measurements and provided that for us. And I think it was in your packet sent out. Yeah. So there's some documentation about what the staff discovered. It is a corner lot. So yeah, here it is. There is a corner lot. And Mike, do you want to kind of go into any kind of detail on
Yes, and before we can go forward with this, I just want to make sure this correction on here. So on here, it's stated the rear yard setbacks shall not be less than 25 feet. As shown in the map here, the site plan, this is also for a front yard reduction as well. So these are both.
Was it
combined.
advertised that way?
Yes, well, it was advertised as, yeah.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
missed,
Yeah, I want to make sure that's clear. This is for rear and front setback.
okay, so I missed that in their application. How did I do that?
Mike, can you, I don't think I'm alone in having visited the area and still not be crystal clear on where the subject property is.
Mhm.
If I was to use the Gizmo 5 printout and use Frawley Road across that corner as my orientation, I can see the lot 6775 and
Oh.
whatever the other one that ends in 57 or 87. Do I understand the orientation right, that the road that's coming into the subdivision that's not marked is also called Santee Drive?
That's right. So this would be here, if everybody can see that, that would be Dharma Loop here. And then you would go, let's see here. Shanty would be here and the two lots themselves are right here where you'll see some new slabs being poured out there. So they're both lots adjacent to those slabs where you see in that area.
So orient to me, if I was driving in from Frawley and I turned left into the subdivision, how would I arrive at this corner?
Keep going straight all the way before you get to the second right. It's the two lots right there.
Okay, so if I was to be driving in, so
You're actually.
okay, so in this direction would be the undeveloped area toward the back.
Correct. Yes,
So this is on the corner, this Santee is the small loop,
that is correct. Yes,
and this road is the road that connects to Frawley.
correct. Yes.
And there's
As you-
several houses, or at least they were laying them out. I'm assuming that the slabs are going to go in
Right.
at Santee.
As you approach that, you'll see all the houses to the left that Mr. Daniels has built out
Right.
as of right now. Then right, as you approach that, we start to lose from the asphalt there and go to the dirt. That would be the two lots immediately to the right. Phase 2 is just started in the rear of
Can you
it.
say that again?
So as you come off Frawley Road, all the houses to the left, right, that are completed as of now, as you keep driving, it would be the two lots before the pavement ends, basically, as you pass the Shanty Drive.
The two lots on your right.
On your right, that's
Yeah.
correct. Mhm.
I think pretty clear with that.
Yeah, he would have started pouring the slabs on these, but the fact of the matter is that the houses that are out there right now wouldn't fit on that size of lot. And so I think Mr. Daniels has actually reduced that size of house a little bit to accommodate this lot.
Okay.
Now, with that reduction, he has to play with these setbacks a little bit.
Just so I'm totally clear on the orientation here. The lot that's 15 there, or Alpha, yeah, 15's got a slab poured on it. And then
Yes.
what's to the left-hand side of this picture is the undeveloped area toward the back of the
That's correct.
development. Okay,
Mr. Zizal, that's correct.
I'm clear on where we're at.
All right.
So Mike, I was looking over the applications again, and it said the hardship on the rear setback house will not fit. So you're saying there's a hardship on the front also?
That's correct, because the size of house is there right now. If he tries to put the size of house that he's currently building on that, it would pretty much take up that whole lot. So he's reduced the house somewhat, but he still has to get some front and rear setback requirements
Okay.
to make this house fit.
I guess that's where I picked up. It just said hardship on rear setback on the application.
Right. Otherwise, you would have really abnormal looking two houses sitting there, very small compared to every other house in this.
Well, I thought that's what we talked about when I talked to you earlier, but it just didn't, my brain didn't.
Are the lots next door about the same size as these lots?
They fluctuate a little bit. Yeah.
How did they get houses on them without the setback change?
Well, those could accommodate the size of the house that he wanted on there. These two, for whatever reason, when the planning commission approved them, they still meet the requirements of, your 2,625 square feet and your 35-foot road frontage. with that being said, you can still place a house on there. It's just, like I said, it'd be abnormal looking to have only two smaller homes in this whole subdivision where you have, you know, the rest of the subdivision built out in. Yes,
What's the minimum square footage?
the applicant could answer that one if need be.
We can get to that in a minute.
What's the subdivision? What's the minimum?
Oh, it's 2625 on the lot
For the
size.
lot itself, yeah, 2,000, I think it's 2,625 square feet. That's a minimum size of a 0 lot line, which is very small lot.
Right, but these are around 4,000.
Right, these are, I think he's listed about 0.16 acres and 1 acre. 0.11 acre. So you're looking at 4,000, 6,000, I think, if you did the math on that.
So we need to include in our discussion then the front, if it's been advertised for front and rear.
It was.
It was? Okay. So we need to, I'm sorry, then I misunderstood the application. Apologize for that. So we need to look at front setback and rear setback. Okay,
Correct.
okay. That's,
You said the word.
Advertised. Yes, it was.
your chairman just misread it apparently.
Sir,
Said your chairman misread the application.
I was listening and it sounded to me like it just said.
Well, anyway. Okay, anything else? I think we should add, well, let's ask the applicant if he doesn't mind coming forward. Are you Mr. Daniels? Can you give us your name and address for the record, please?
My name's Christopher Daniel. I live at 11 Macedonia, White, Georgia.
Okay.
I'm from in Cartersville.
Chairman Leach,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
I interrupt just briefly?
Yeah.
I was just out there and I'm certain that Mr. Daniel thought I was a prospective buyer, so he came up and introduced
Okay.
himself. And in the course of that, we did have a very brief conversation of, 3 to 5 minutes about the situation he was dealing with. And so in the interest of transparency, if I need to recuse myself or abstain, please let me.
As long as you didn't promise to vote one way or the other, you're okay.
No.
Legally,
Fine.
ma'am.
legally, you can have discussions, but you cannot commit to any decision.
It was mainly to just find out how it came about. that there-
Sometimes folks will, once you vote for it, against it, or whatever, and particularly in
I
this
just wanna be
situation,
Completely transparent about that.
small towns, you go to church with somebody and they're, so anyway,
Okay.
so you just have to avoid the ex parte, as they like to say, discussions. So Mr. Daniel, would you cover information that we really need to know? Are you planning any screening to the rear of these against, because these things are just right up next to each other. So were you planning screening fence
sir.
or anything? to
No,
the
sir.
rear?
Actually, these two houses are sold under contract, waiting on approval of y'all guys signing the approval of putting the smaller houses on it. Just the rest of the lots 1 through 12 on the left side, is Mr. Chris was talking about coming in. Those lots are 110 foot deep by 45. And the other lots I own, 15, 16, I bought 38 lots in there. They're all 110 foot deep. And I guess the engineer, I said, I didn't develop this or design it, but the engineer snuck 2 lots in, they turned them sideways, and those 2 lots are only 87 foot deep. So my product I have out there are 52 and 54 foot deep. So with the existing front setback and rear setback, my existing product won't work. So I actually drew 2 more house plans, and one's 44 foot deep and one's 46 foot deep. And I had my local engineer in Cartersville draw it and send it in. That's what, I guess, the drawing you have. I'm sorry, the drawing you have now. And it shows to get my product that we drew for this, we got to ask for a front and rear setback. But the gentleman who that bought lot 14, like I said, again, it's sold, didn't ask for any kind of screening between 15 and 14. He wanted the corner lot. And the young lady who put the contract on 13, the same way, she didn't ask for any kind of screening. We've started 10 houses, lots 1 through 10. All 10 of those are sold. And I've bought permits on 11, 12 through 20, and 5 of those are sold. And I haven't bought permits for these 2 because we're trying to wait on, see what this outcome's going to be.
So the setback on the front is proposed to be 20
Yes, sir, on 13 and 14, that corner. Yes, sir.
and the setback on the rear is proposed to be 15.
No, 19 on lot 13, 19.2 on one side, 19.3 on the other side, and lot 14, 18.6 and 18.5.
Okay, just on the plan, it said proposed 15-foot rear setback.
Yeah, but if you look at the little arrows between the lot line and I guess that proposed rear setback, I guess that's what they're asking you to do, but the box actually is the footprint of the house.
Right, I
My
understand,
engineer put on there.
understand that concept, but so you're saying one of them is 19.2, 19.3, that's 13, and 14 is 18.5 and 18.6.
Yes, sir. From the corner of the house to the
Correct,
property line.
correct.
Actually brought a bigger copy. I don't know, Mike, did you get a copy of this? I'm sure that's what.
No, I didn't get that one, Chris. No.
Do you have, I noticed that most of them had garages or so is it a front facing garage?
Yes, sir. They're front facing garages.
Okay.
I actually brought the plans if y'all guys want to pass the plans around.
Yeah, most cars have a hard time fitting in a 20-foot setback.
Like to see them.
May I approach?
Yes, please. And what document is this?
This number here, 46, that's the size of the box and that's the footprint of that house, and 44.6. And those are the main of the plans.
What's the lot number behind 6775?
It's lot 15 and I actually own that lot too. That is the,
Phase 2
That's-
of the project.
yes,
Yeah.
sir. And it's not platted yet.
How deep is it?
It's not platted. I don't
It's not
know.
platted yet, Max, so we have no idea what it's going to be. It has to meet the minimum standards of the zero lot line homes.
It's in dark.
More than likely, I mean, I couldn't speculate on that. I mean, I wouldn't think they would, but it's possible they could.
Well, he does not own those, correct? Those, the adjacent property on the
Phase 2,
on the west side of lot 13. He doesn't
Jay
own
owns
those.
it. The
Yeah.
developer Jay owns it. I don't know Jay's last name.
Jay Desai, he's the owner of the remaining.
So you only
Basically.
own the 3 lots? Is that,
No, sir. I bought 38 lots.
oh, okay. And you've already built out some of your.
Yes,
structures?
sir. 1 through 10's built and we're working on 11 through 20.
And you're the owner of the lot 15
I am.
that's adjoins to the rear.
Yes, sir, I am.
And I don't have an address of Champa Drive.
I don't know the street address. I'm sorry, Mike. Do you know the street address?
I don't as of yet, no.
That's lot 15's on Shannon.
Lot 15.
So-
I don't, I know lot numbers. I apologize. I don't know street addresses.
Well, it's Shannon. So have you already got a slab working on 15?
Yes, there's slab of framing package dropped today. We're gonna start framing that thing in the morning.
Okay, I thought that's what I saw. Let's just label that exhibit 1 and give it to her. So we'll have that. Oh, Mac wants it. I think I saw it when they were. You give the board just a second to
Yes, sir.
review that, please. If you'll just, Melissa, if you'll just mark that exhibit 1. So, we've already discussed, lot 13. Let's talk about 14 while we're discussing these. And there's a 25-foot setback from right of way, on 14. Is that, Mike, is that what they've got?
Hmm.
Okay.
So that has a 25-foot setback.
Yeah, that's the requirement in the ordinance. I want to make sure I didn't miss another one. So the variance, let me just make sure everybody knows that the variance is from section 403, it's height, area and building regulations. And we've talked about the E. This is D under the ordinance. It says all buildings must be set back at least 25 feet from any dedicated public street, which will be his front. So that's a public street. So we are talking about front and rear setbacks, and they're subsection D and E and the ordinance. Mr. Daniels, you have any other comments you want to make?
No, sir. I just would appreciate any kind of help I can get out of this project. Again, it's I should have did a better due diligence on when I bought the lots, and I went out there and I measured, make sure the water boxes were there and such that, but I just didn't pay attention to these two lots being 87 and 84 foot deep. But I guess that's on my account, and I'm here to ask for a little help on it.
So if these are not granted, what's your solution? Do you have a solution?
I'll have to have another set of plans drawn, and tell the customers that have them under contract, want to buy them, that y'all guys didn't approve them, and we'll try to come up with a smaller house. But I've been fortunate out there. We're selling stuff out there 22 and 2,400 square feet under $400,000, and we're having good success. And if we try to build anything smaller, I'm afraid I'm going to have a problem selling them.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it likely that the physical appearance of these two houses is going to be different if you have to go smaller than?
No, I actually brought the plans that I drew for this, if y'all want to see the plan.
If you have to redraw your plans from what you have now to something smaller to fit.
No, ma'am, the houses will look similar on the front, on the houses, the stone and the hardy board. The only thing is just going to be a smaller footprint and a smaller square footage.
What are the 3-bedroom, 2-bath?
Yes, sir. Actually, one of these is a 4-bedroom. The other product we're building are all 4-bedroom houses.
But one of these is a 3-bedroom?
Yes, sir. One of them's a 3 and one's a 4. Yes, sir. 2.5 bath. Yep.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Daniel or for the staff?
And you said for these, y'all have already reduced the square footage of the homes already, correct?
For these two lots.
These,
13,
that's what
14.
these plans are reduced.
Yes. Again, I'm a little new at East Ridge. I built a lot of houses in Georgia, and I do a lot of developing in the counties I work in. The zone administration are able to do a 20% reduction. And that's what that is. That's how I come up with that. This is the first time I've actually come from a board for a 20% reduction. So I apologize. I'm a little new at this.
Not in the ordinance. They cannot do it.
Yes, sir.
We're
I
the
get
only
it.
ones that can do that. Okay, board, we've heard both sites, under new business, A and B. And again, I apologize for missing that front setback issue. But so we've got a front and rear setback on those, and based on the configuration of the lots, that the lots are smaller than the lots in that subdivision. So does that justify setback variance because the lots are smaller? And I guess that's the clear issue here.
I think there's some other things to consider here. One, So you've got the street setback, like on, Shanty. So that's not encumbered by this proposal, but the Dharma direction would be.
Correct.
So, in a similar fashion of what we had in our last meeting, when somebody had a situation where they're looking to ingress onto the direction of the street. For somebody standing in that intersection or driving down Dharma Way, the setback up to the street, any future properties that were built to the west would be encumbered visually by this house. So your line of sight, instead of seeing down yards, you'll see the front of this structure and not down the street. So to encumber to the front toward Dharma would actually be an encumbrance on the future properties being built to the west.
If they,
down that
if
street.
the lot depth is the same. Mike, this 50-foot right of way. What's the road width? Is there a sidewalk?
There are, yeah.
Okay, and what's the road width, the actual pavement width? It's 30 or 28?
I believe it's right at that 20, yeah, around 30.
So, part of that is that, you know, you have a 50-foot right of way for the setback purposes of setback, but you do gain a little bit of front because the road right of way, the paved part is not the entire 50 feet. So in other words, you've got we used to say about 10 feet on each side of the pavement was right away and not somebody's front yard. And most people didn't understand that. But so you do get that was the issue with parking when you had the issue with
Would we grant future appealees that were to propose building to the west side? The ability to go.
cannot say we would do that. We would or would not.
I'm just putting it as a hypothetical.
Well,
We
this would-
be faced
this would be
with that situation.
Well,
in the
this would be a
future.
precedent for sure. Yeah, so, you know, you'd have to watch your precedents. Okay, we've had discussion. Any further questions for staff or Mr. Daniel?
If I could ask, is there a reason you own both these properties? It could not be a single structure combining the two properties.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Is it something you considered? And I obviously chose to go a different route, but being the owner of both these two properties, to join the properties, to have
Well,
a singular.
I actually, I bought them in individual lots. And they have individual water meters, and that would cut down the money for the city. You'd have one homeowner. And that'd have to build the house and encumber both lot prices, and the house would be so expensive, no one would buy the house. That I don't know what I give, $49,000 a lot, so you'd have $100,000 in the lot, and we're selling the houses for $389. That math don't work.
Those lots for 49,000 each.
Yes, sir. And in the second phase, I have the rest of the second phase under contract with Jay. I have those under contract for $59,000 a lot. And back to your other question, in the second phase there, I've seen the construction drawings. These other lots to the west of lot 13, they're drawn just like these because it goes around a curve. So that's up to the engineer and the surveyor who draws a final plat, and whoever approves the final plat not to approve this side of the lot again.
So you're saying they'll have to have a 15-foot setback to build on?
It depends on what product they build. I mean, again, it's a construction drawings I've seen. I haven't seen a final plat, but that's the way it's drawn now. The engineer department, I guess, I don't know who it is approved it, so I don't know.
I think the only justification is the lots are small. And they were platted that way as being small lots. So that is a justification to look at. But anyway, any other questions? Everybody looks kind of puzzled.
I mean, I'm kind of puzzled. I'm struggling with this. I mean, because And these lots were purchased on speculation to build, I guess, with the speculation that you would get the variance,
No,
accommodate the size.
no, I didn't buy them off speculation of the variance, no. I had no idea we had to have a variance until I went and tried to pull a building permit. Whenever that was, and I know y'all guys meet every 30 or 60 to 45, I don't know what y'all guys' dates are. No, I did not buy these off speculation. I purchased these lots in December of last year.
But you got them under contract to build based on your, whatever given specs.
I have this, I didn't understand the question. I have these under contract to build?
Right.
Yeah, I have these lots under contract with these plans that I've redrawn. And they're sold. Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant or for the staff? And again, I think the only justification I see is that the lots are small. And that is not the issue that the applicant created. But it is an issue, so. He did not create the issue with the lots. So I'll entertain a motion.
I don't know else to discuss. I'm kind of struggling with this. I see that him owning the property to the rear, I kind of don't see a problem with the variance there because it's his property to be the most immediately impacted. But I'm kind of struggling with the front lot line in that a variance being allowed there is just kind of setting up what's going to happen for the remainder of as things get built out to the west. So I'd like to hear more discussion on that if I'm.
Okay, well, I mean, you can make a motion that only includes rear setback. We can split this up. So we could split it up by lots. We could split it up by front and rear.
I'd like to hear whatever anybody else has to say any thoughts on that.
Well, I think one of the most compelling arguments is that, will it be in the public detriment to the public good? And the answer to that is no.
I think that's kind of where I'm feeling, but I not knowing if there's an overall cohesive plan for this neighborhood. To one degree, I don't care if they want to cram themselves in, but on the other hand, there are people that have bought in here with the understanding that the variances or the zoning would be followed and the specs would be followed. I think if there's something compelling like a physical aspect of the property, a ditch or something along that line that would necessitate it. In this case, the only really case we've got for necessitating it is that I'd like to have it. With not, I don't mean that offensively.
No, sir.
But
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think if we build a smaller product, I actually think it would hurt the values of the neighborhood out there now.
that's an understandable argument. That's the kind of thing I'm looking to hear.
Yeah.
Explain to me why I might be wrong here.
There's no deed covenants affecting setback, any covenants on this property affecting setbacks, any covenants for the community, the larger community.
No, not that I'm aware of. And I've got a copy of recorded covenants before I bought the property. The other builder out there, Evan, what's Evan's name?
Evan Green,
Uh,
EPG Homes.
EPG Homes. He's actually building a smaller product than I am. And he is selling well. I think he sold 4 and I've sold 16 or 17 out there. But you're talking about this house will have to be 13 or if you don't approve the front setback, this house has to be 13 or 1400 square foot. I mean, it'll take, and I think it'll really be detrimental to the neighborhood. You have 2,000 square foot houses, 2,400 square foot houses, and you got a 1,300 square foot house there. And then for you saying a visual line of sight for the second phase, me personally, I think that's in y'all guys' hands to approve, to work with engineering, to work with a developer on the second phase. If y'all guys don't want this problem again, say, hey, we're not going to approve these small lots. Can you rearrange these and move them around in the construction phase of the development instead of kind of waiting until now?
That's a little outside our area of responsibility.
I understand, but all y'all guys know everybody. Y'all can talk to everybody.
Yeah, that will actually come back before me and the planning commission as well. And that's something we need to look at that time.
That would be where the planning commission can make a
Absolutely. That
decision,
would get
sure,
involved in it.
but not this body. Okay, I haven't heard a motion. We've talked a little bit about the effect it might have on the adjacent properties, both positive, negative. Again, and we can break it down between front and rear. I think the argument is that it would, if he does not get both, it will result in a smaller home. It's out of character for that community. So, and these are small lots. I mean, they're tiny lots. If you think about the size of these lots, it's very difficult to develop.
To build on.
Right. It's not like a townhouse. Townhouses, everybody kind of understands, are lined up and the lot sizes are tiny. When we wrote this ordinance, we wrote it for townhouses and we wrote another ordinance for patio homes. And this is, as far as I know, the first time it's ever been used. So it's sort of new territory for everybody.
Yeah, I've been building for 20 years and I closed 300 houses last year and 300 houses the year before. And I built a lot of houses in Atlanta, north side of Atlanta. And this is the first time I've ever built a 0 lot line product, 0 to 8 tenths off the property line. And this is a new understanding for me too.
I don't see that we have an obligation to take into consideration future buyers of properties. If these houses are already constructed, somebody's gonna drive by and see them and either go, oh, I don't want to live next to that. Or they're gonna put down the money. So,
And
I'm not sure what our obligation.
well, part of that issue is, and I think that Mike, you bring it up with the planning commission, they need to make sure the next series of lots are adjusted a little bit larger. So the developers have the depth they need to work with. Because these houses are 2 stories and they're on small lots. They're on a little bitty lot. So there's not, in the old days, you could, with a normal size 10,000 square foot lot, you could play around with it. But on these lots are so critical. The townhouses, Mike and I have talked about this. You actually have a dead space between the 2 of them of a townhouse. It's 1 inch. And that's basically your property line. And these are built with the 0 or 10, I think is how it's standard. So it's very unusual zoning. It's not one that folks are used to. And we've never seen one. I've never actually seen one at an application.
But it's going well. People are liking it. We've sold the fool out of them. I said we closed 3 last week. We had 2 to close this month and 7 to close into July.
You didn't say you sold the fools, did you?
I'm sorry? No, sir. No, strike that if that's what it is. No,
Let's amend that.
no, strike that. But the lots are 45 foot wide and the product's 29 foot wide. So that tells you how much room we have to play with.
And they are going for a rather good price, I think. So I'm still looking for further discussion, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Change.
Okay, and let me stipulate that, make a motion to approve the front and the back setbacks reduced from 25 to 20 feet.
Yes.
Due to the lot size and configuration, is that a fair?
Yes.
Okay. And do we want to, let's take two motions, then we'll do the lot. Whichever was the first one, 6775 first. With that motion. Do I-
And the motion is for in its entirety, front and back.
Approval for both the front and the back.
That's going 20 on the front, 15 on the back,
Correct,
as the proposal is.
based on lot size. Do we have a second to that motion? I need a second.
I'll second.
Do you have a motion, a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, let's take a roll call.
Board Member Pendley. Board Member Qualls,
Yes.
Board Member Sharp. Yes. Board Member Zitzel. Chairperson Leach.
Yes. Okay, that motion did pass. Let's do the next motion on 6787 Dharma Loop. And the motion would be the same motion. Ms. Sharp, okay. And do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Do you have that motion? It was the same as the first? Do we need to repeat it? Okay, she's good. Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Again, let's do a roll call.
Board Member Pendley. Board Member Qualls,
Yes.
Board Member Sharp. Yes. Board Member Zitzel. Chairperson Leach.
Yes. Okay, the motion passed on both lots. If you'll work with Mike on those, you do need a building permit. And good luck with that project and next time measure the lot a little bit more carefully.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all guys for hearing me.
It's caused me to have gray hair. Wait a minute, I already had gray.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
yes,
one
sir.
question now. It's approved as in we're good to go. Some of the stuff in the state of Georgia, you got to wait 30 days for, but this is administration approval. We're able to buy the permits tomorrow.
Right.
Correct. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Variance decision letter as well tomorrow.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, board, for taking the time to do that. As part of our state law requirement, we do have to have a continuing education. And you know me, I'm always looking at weird things. So here's one that I got off one of my magazines, and it's showing, I guess I need to give that to her. Showing the roundabout. A roundabout. If y'all don't know anything about roundabouts, I've heard complaints about roundabouts. I was at a meeting one time and three ladies stood up and said they're killers. I mean, you can hardly argue with that, but roundabouts do have a really interesting purpose, and I've used them a lot in when I was in public works. And back when I grew up in Brainerd, there were a couple of roundabouts that the kids used to play in. But a couple of things that roundabouts do, one of which is you don't have T-bone hits anymore. You know, at a roundabout, at a standard intersection, you'll have somebody gets T-boned, and a lot of times there's a lot of injuries involved in that. And roundabout, as my traffic engineer used to tell me, you only have a glancing blow. So it's a lot safer. The other thing is, and the reason I picked up this article was that it was discussing the fact that it uses the air pollution's less because you have less idle time, like at a traffic signal. They're not suited for everything. This is a crazy one right here that I have a picture of. And you have to watch the approach numbers, volume of traffic on all the approaches to kind of figure out if it's a good one, good location for one. But we built a lot of them when I was in office, and they work well. and people have gotten used to them in Chattanooga. So that was a very positive thing that, and you don't have any maintenance, any signals. I did have somebody run across the top of one time and just absolutely nailed all the signage that was there. But generally, you don't have that issue, and people will slow down. It's a good traffic calming device, as well as eliminates a lot of the issues with crashes at intersections. So y'all needed to know that, I'm sure. The second thing is, I don't know if y'all saw where the city of Chattanooga was pushing for an accessory dwelling units. It was an article that was published in the Chattanooga, I think, that they were talking about the benefits of, and we talked on the board one time about these. Here's another one from Seattle. Here you go. One thing that's, I noticed that the city of Chattanooga was saying it has to be, well, it's a very small unit just to begin with. It's a unit that's in the city of Chattanooga. I think it was 700 square feet or something. It's also known as granny flats, in-law suites, carriage houses. And in the old days, there used to be carriage houses where your maid or handyman lived in the carriage house. But in this case, it's for additional, the whole notion behind it is it's going to provide access, more houses being built. Yeah, 700 square feet is the size. You can imagine what size that is. And it said in this particular document that I got off online that they had to be owner occupied. You had to have an owner occupied in the main house. I think that's the way it read. Mike and I have talked about this. It was interesting in the old days, East Ridge allowed, prior to 89, allowed 2 dwelling units on the same lot if they could be subdivided. And when we rewrote the ordinance in 89, we eliminated that that part of the ordinance and said, well, we don't think that's a good idea. But the part of this, the purpose was to provide more housing for the city of Chattanooga. And the standard was 700 square feet and the maximum height was 24 feet, which is basically two levels. And it says the owner, which is the real problematic enforcement issue, the owner of the property must live in either the main house or the ADU. And it said cannot be compared with a condo or townhouse. And the property, the ADU, cannot be subdivided from the main house. And the city of Chattanooga was saying, well, we want to generate 5,000 additional units in the city of Chattanooga for using these ADUs. Now, I'm not sure how, Mike and I've talked about this. I'm not sure how you'd ever enforce whether or not an owner still lives in the main house. You could probably assume that for a period of time, the owner of the property in the main house would be living there, but somebody moves out of town and you've got a situation where you've got essentially a duplex. You got two structures that are a duplex on a lot. So I just think I don't know. That's my only issue with it, and I think that's an issue that is not resolvable. That's just a headache for somebody like Mike that's got to enforce the ordinance. It's just one of those situations where I don't know you'd ever be able to guarantee that your owners is still in the house. And if the owner moves, does that mean that the house needs to the ADU needs to be vacated? I don't know. So anyway, just a interesting. I knew this was coming, And I'd heard about it, but I don't know if Eastridge would ever be interested or not. But,
Doesn't this increase the chances of that second unit being used for Airbnb or for?
well, yeah, and if you're familiar with, if you're if you're familiar with the Airbnb issues, they're bad. Because a lot of times the Airbnb is the folks that are in the Airbnb are not being controlled very well, and so there are a lot of, I think there are a lot of issues statutorily. You can devise all kinds of standards, but whether you can enforce them or not, I'm not sure. Mike might want to say something. Yeah. Yeah.
Not only do you open up parking on that, you open up, fire. EMS, to get to this back ADU, you open up huge problem. Not only Chattanooga's already seen with the short-term vacation rentals.
Right. Right.
They know how bad.
And literally, you don't have enough staff to enforce it ever. I mean, you can't be at in every neighborhood. And I don't know. We'll see how that all works out. And, but do we do the Airbnb legally in Eastridge?
The other district that does allow short-term vacation. Part two. Those are allowed, but we do have to go through the process, non-owner occupied. When we do our mailing, it's 300-foot radius to that property. Objections to it and.
So do you do a public hearing on the permit?
No, only on the standards placed in the ordinance. Good, we issue visual permission. And non-owner occupied will move it for getting it out to the public, making sure everyone's been notified of it. So, yeah.
And the owner occupied would be where on Airbnb, you can just you can rent out a room. That's a common thing for Airbnb, especially in bigger cities.
I have a nephew that's a doctor. He built 5 Airbnbs, and after about 8 months, he changed them to regular rentals. Did that in Georgia.
I'm glad you qualified that, being down in Georgia. That's good.
Well, we're already
I
seeing
know.
dramatically increasing rents in my neighborhood where it's considerably more than I would have paid for a mortgage. That's what I paid for.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. And we talked about this case tonight with RZ1. They're building on smaller lots, so they're getting more lots per acre, but they're building the houses vertical. So they're getting the square footage, and then they're charging, what was it, 400,000 is what I understood, something like that. So that is not a inexpensive way to solve housing issues. So this ADUs, I don't know. I just think they're very problematic as far as from Mike's standpoint on enforcement. So. Well, and I think the whole parking issue is kind of interesting too, because you plop one of those in the side yard or backyard, and I don't think they're allowed in the front, and you got a mess with parking. I mean, the whole lot ends up being paved. What it ends up. Okay, that's our continuing ed for tonight. If you think of anything you'd like to talk about at a continuing ed, we do have that requirement under state law that we have to have so many hours and per year and all that. So we try to do that every time we meet. So anyway, is there any further business that we have tonight? Mike, do you have anything else? I don't hear of any more business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Do we have a motion? Okay, now we got a second. Perfect. I like that when that happens. All in favor, say aye. Again, thank y'all for coming tonight and thank the staff particularly. Appreciate you.